about that?
Yeah!
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. What a crowd today. I just drove up to the statehouse and I've never seen a line out the door, back door. That is great to have you here. But let me tell you something. I'm proud of my record to vote against all 6 anti-gun bills last year. And what gets me is we call it an assault weapon. Well, last year, and the year before, 25 people on average have been killed on our highways by an assault weapon called an automobile. Why don't we ban an automobile?
Yeah!
The same thing happens with baseball bats, knives. We had a stabbing in Providence. Those 2 people are going to die. Is that an assault weapon? Well, let me tell you something. We are going to fight and fight and fight. Because it's not right to pick on law-abiding citizens, gun owners, who are not criminals, and they try to label us as criminals. But what gets me, ladies and gentlemen, it's embarrassing where when you ask some of these individuals to introduce these bills, you ask them, well, there's not a problem in Rhode Island because Rhode Island has the toughest laws in the land as far as guns. They say, well, it's the problem in Florida or it's the problem in California. Then go introduce that legislation in those states, not here in Rhode Island. We're going to continue the fight. Thank you.
Women and moms want to worry about drugs instead of guns.
All right, I'm going to touch upon a couple things that were said earlier. Rhode Island is the #2 safest state in the country. We should be #1. Do you know why we're not #1? Because Peter Nerona will not try anyone that gets charged with a gun charge, any criminal, any gun gangbanger. What do? They drop the gun charge.
Yes.
He gets 6 months probation, make a deal on whatever charge he has left. Then he gets caught with a second firearm. Again, they drop that charge. He gets caught with a third one. They drop that charge also. So this is all going on, and then sooner or later, the Johnny Gangbanger commits murder. So we have a lot of, shootings going on in the streets, and yes, we're #2. We should be #1 because the Attorney General does not want to do his job, and that's a problem because his whole game has been trying to restrict our rights, but he won't do his job and make Rhode Island safer. And that's what these people don't understand up here. We are not the issue. Okay, we are not the issue. They don't understand that at all. So, as someone brought up, this is the difference between organizations that try and do good and bad, and I've said this in testimony. So you have the Moms Against Drunk Driving, right? What did they go after? Did they go after Cadillac? No, they went after the driver, okay? They've done a great job, and the reason why I mention this is because this is close to my heart. 1975, I lost my father, a Navy recruiter and a Marine recruiter, killed by a drunk driver in Boston. He got 10 years suspended, sentenced 2 years without his license. In 1979, they didn't have the laws they have now. But Moms Against Drunk Drivers took that and they went and they changed laws. Not to go against the law-abiding citizen, the person that doesn't drive drunk, not against the tool, which is the Cadillac, to go after the drunk driver. And that's what they should be doing. They should be going after the criminals. They should be dragging the runner up here and say, why aren't you doing your job? They shouldn't be inflicting more handcuffs on the Rona as far as not to give them any wiggle room to let a third-time offender on a gun charge let go.
Yeah.
That's what we need. That's what Rhode Island needs to make our citizens safer. So we also have Jake from National Shooting Sports Foundation. We also have Darren Gomes from the NRA. A lot of people will say in his defense, what's the NRA doing for Rhode Island? Well, let me tell you what the NRA is doing for Rhode Island. So right now we have 2 cases going right now. We have one in federal court. It's O'Neill versus Nerona. He denied my carry permit after we won the stun guns. Another case, O'Neill versus Nerona. So what we did was we applied to the NRA to help as far as funding the lawsuits that we have that are active. We also have a case in Superior Court on DEM, because DEM thinks that they can supersede Rhode Island law and not allow to carry on the parks that we have or while we're hunting. So that case is in Superior Court, so we are working hard, but the NRA is actually, we submitted all our paperwork and everything, and they're actually going to help us out. It's been approved, and they're going to send us $75,000 to Rhode Island.
As they should.
Also, Jake from SFS has been really generous. They've also helped out funding our Grassroots campaigns, and we have two great organizations that are working hard for Rhode Island. So right now, I'm going to ask, who wants to go first, fellas? Jake from National Shooting Sports Foundation.
Thank you. First of all, I've been in this building probably 18 to 20 years, and I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come down here and fight. NSSF is a national organization. We represent manufacturers and retailers. We actually took over the magazine ban, the appeal on that with Will from Big Bear, and we will also, if this goes any further, we will also be taking on any litigation here in Rhode Island with respect to the quote-unquote assault weapons ban. But as everyone else has said, think about this for a second. In Rhode Island, over a 13-year time period, 2 homicides were attributed to a rifle. 2. That's 0.6%. Where is there a problem? There is no problem. They continually want to come after law-abiding gun owners, and we appreciate you showing up in full force. It's been a couple of years, and you guys are back, and I love to see the yellow shirts. NSSF is here for you, and we will continue to battle for your rights here in Rhode Island. Thank you.
Next, we have Darren Gold, our lobbyist from Rhode Island from the NRA.
It's good to see everybody again. It's my annual trip up here, but it's not good to see everybody because we have to do this every single year, and it's unfortunately the price that we all have to pay to preserve our freedoms that some others pay an even deeper price to pay for it. So it's the least we can do. My message today is going to be pretty simple. It's you gotta show up. Today was a good first step. You showed up. And we've had other years where people have showed up, but you know when the most important time to show up is? On election day or right before election day, dropping your ballot in the box, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, like Jake, I've been here for almost, with NRA for 20 years, and I've had Rhode Island for 15 years, and we do this each and every year, and I thought to myself, what makes all of this stop? What makes us stop having to take days off from work to come up here and do this? There's only one thing that makes it stop. It's not litigation. It's showing up. It shows the importance of that. Just last night, we got a reminder. In Pennsylvania, there was a special election for a Senate seat, and Republicans had a fantastic year last fall, picking up a U.S. Senate seat, a couple congressional seats. Had a fantastic year. Trump carried the state, but what happened in that special election district last night was unacceptable. In a race that Trump won by 15 points in a district, the Republican lost last night. And they lost because before election day, there were 8,000 ballots that the Democrats turned in early and absentee. Republicans turned in like 500. It was a low turnout race in a special election. My point there is, you gotta turn out. You gotta turn out. Who in this room thinks if you go in the committee room tonight and we win this debate on assault weapons, that this is gonna stop? We're gonna win a debate and it's over. Raise your hand if you think that's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I don't see a single hand. There's one thing that stops it. It's showing up and sending them packing, looking for a new career. That's the only thing that makes any of this stop.
Yes.
We can't rest our laurels on litigation. Yes, we're successful on litigation, but that takes time. And the surest, quickest way to make it all stop is to show up. And congratulations to yourselves for taking that first step and showing up today. Thank you very much.
So Darren covered a little bit as far as like the mail ballots and everything. So Brenda mentioned it earlier as far as the disaffiliation. Listen, the disaffiliation is really important. We can control a lot with the disaffiliation. We need our numbers to grow up. They're going pretty well now, and we need everybody to disaffiliate. Okay? I need you to go to RhodeIslandGunRights.com. RhodeIslandGunRights.com. They're doing phenomenal work over there. Get in there, see what they have on their website, and also disaffiliate. Our next speaker is Rep. Crotrocher.
I just want to really thank everybody. A lot of, everything's been said, the numbers are all out, facts and figures are all out, but I want to thank everybody. 3rd floor, 2nd floor, this floor, the bottom floor.
The line outside.
The line outside to the street down the corner. I stuck my head inside the hearing room, all the yellow, a sea of yellow in there. So thank everybody for that. It's just absolutely amazing that such a large group, right? Such a huge group is so disrespected and so disregarded in this state, okay? And you guys are making it happen. I really, really appreciate it for coming out here. This group isn't the one getting paid to be out here, like the other side. So you're giving up a lot. I know you're giving up some of your work time, your family time, and everything else like I do, like we all do. So thank you again. Appreciate it.
Representative Sherry Roberts wants to add a small statement.
Sorry, I don't want to sound repetitive, but I have said before that they would be out to take our weapons at some point. This was many years ago, right? The power is absolutely in your hands. This does not have to continue. I'm trying to drill that in. I don't want to sound repetitive, but this is so important because even if they don't succeed this year, they will continue until they achieve their goals. So we cannot let up. We must be merciless like they have been to us. Okay, so I'm counting on you guys all to do that. We as elected officials can only do so much, and we are outnumbered greatly. We need your help. We cannot do anything without you. Your help. You are the power. Okay, how powerful we are depends on what you give us. We need your help. Okay? Thank you.
So our next speakers are from League of Businesses. League of Rhode Island Businesses. I work on airplanes, so I'm a little hard to hear. But anyway, so our first guy is going to talk is Dave Levesque. We met a couple of months ago, had long conversations. Big guy, great supporter, and he's a true leader.
I know this flight from being a restaurant and during COVID.
I had to try to get down here.
It was
I'm gonna go,
unbearable
I'll be out
that we
front.
had to go through. How many here have already disaffiliated? By a show of hands. Not enough. The most important thing we can do is disaffiliate. People say why? Because you can go to the next primary and you can vote the girl or the guy or the politician out, or get somebody elected. I was one of those guys that I'm never leaving the Republican Party. I would never disaffiliate. I did, I'm proud to do it, and I posted it. You gotta get everybody to do it, not just yourself, but your friends, your family, your brothers, your sisters, your kids. I did the same. We have the power to decide who is the next governor, not them. We have the power to decide who sits in this house. And the more I look around, looks like a place that some of us might want to work very soon. I'm new as a gun owner. Just this year, both guns I bought will be banned. I belonged to gun clubs in the past, shooting, reserve, elite, different places. I've always been a supporter of rights and the Constitution. But one thing I see that happens, not only in my restaurant industry, but the same thing I'm hearing here on the floor. This is awesome today. But tomorrow, we go home. We don't support that group. We don't support that PAC. We don't give to this one. I already gave $25. I already gave. I'll make the call tomorrow. The one thing I hear from the leaders in this house, we do not give them the ammunition to stand up behind them to defend them so they can fight back for us. We leave them out there. Maybe we go to one campaign, maybe two. Maybe we call, maybe we don't. It can't be a let up. It's gotta be constant, every day, day in, day out. If we do that, just this gun group of a few 100,000 people have the ability to determine what's gonna happen in the state of Rhode Island. I always hear from everybody, Rhode Island will never change. And in my restaurants, I'm always promoting the right thing to do based on the Constitution. Rhode Island will never change. It's not gonna change, same old, we can't do anything. It can change. We got Trump behind us. We got a huge tailwind. If we take it, we win. We can determine how this happens. We have the ability to control the budget next year if we get just another dozen or so people up in the State House elected. But you can't stop now. Every group that you know, donate $25 to. Each single one of them. Every single senator, rep, make the call, make the email get out there. Show up when they have these hearings. You don't have to go to every one of them. You go today, you go next week. The problem is we don't show up. You know how I met this guy? This guy is also part of the Legal Rhode Island Restaurants. It was his idea to start it. When they went after him during COVID to shut him down, I said, I gotta go meet the guy. I showed up at his restaurant, Centerdale in North Providence. And that's where I met the guy. And I defended him, I stood up with him, and we got the governor to shut down the health department. Not track this guy anymore. You guys can do it if we're united. If you don't unite, and you go home tonight, and you forget about this, thinking, hey, we just had 6, 7, 10,000 people show up, we got it covered, we will lose. The disaffiliation, in my opinion, is the most important part. They're looking at the numbers coming out at the beginning of April, the voter rolls. If there are 3 people, Shane, Dave, and Mike, that disaffiliated, we got no leverage. If 10,000 people, if 12,000 people disaffiliate, they're all going to be in a panic. We have to do it. There's not today, not tomorrow, not next month. It's got to be done right now. You all got cell phones. rigunrights.com. Go on it. It's so easy to click through. Got to have your license number with you. Put it in, get it done. Thank you guys for your support.
All right, our next speaker is Shane Pichet. I met Shane the other day. He's on crutches today. I don't know what happened. But I can tell you about this after I listened to him talk for about an hour and 15 minutes. And then we had a conversation. I think he'd scare Mike Tyson. I'm not even kidding. He's got the heart of a lion, this guy. And he's so driven, it's unbelievable. So, Shane, come on up, bud. Good afternoon, everybody. I don't know how I'm going to follow that now, Mike. First of all, forgive me that I am a little hobbled today. I've recently turned 40, and I decided to play basketball last night, so we got a little ankle issue, but that's okay.
It only gets worse.
Right? But, I was thinking about it this morning as I woke up and realized that I couldn't walk. Said to my wife, I said, you gotta do me a favor. Go to CVS and get me some crutches. So after she DoorDashed it, because she knows how to do that, I don't, but she got me some crutches. She said, well, you're gonna go to the doctor, you're gonna get it looked at. And I said, no, I can't. She said, why? I said, well, I gotta go to the State House. She says, are you kidding me? She says, you gotta go get that thing looked at. I said, no, you don't understand. I thought about it, because when I first got out, I said, maybe I can't go. But then I thought to myself, as I reflected, and I said, if I didn't go, then I wouldn't be who I am. Okay? You can't hear me? Is that better? All right. So as I thought to myself, how could I not go? The thought occurred to me, if I had to crawl over glass up the stairs to get there, I have to get there. So, there's a lot of people who've said a lot of great things, and I don't want to sit up here and reiterate
all the points like Dave made about disaffiliate. Okay, you have to donate, guys. I know it stinks, we don't want to do it, but these people in this building, they understand money. And if you want to defeat them, that's what it takes. And when you show them that you're unified and you can literally put your money where your mouth is, that's how you get them to move, okay? Now, the next part of that everyone's talking about is engage. This is already happening. You're here. Give them all a round of applause that are out in that back room. Let them know you're here. As we look around this magnificent building, as my friend Dave said, it's a shame that some of these people get to spend their days here. I'd love to spend a day in a building like this. Look at it. But we need to have a presence here more often. We need to have a presence here constantly. This is the people's house. Okay? And we need to make it clear to those that sit in the chambers, they have to be reminded they were elected to represent us. We don't work for them, they work for us. And even if we didn't vote for them, and even if we didn't donate to them, if they sit in that seat, they have to represent us just as much as they represented the people that elected and voted for them. And we, from here on out, are going to hold them accountable. We had a meeting on Thursday last week. We put it together in a couple of days. It was at Brood Awakening in Warwick. Many of you might have been there. Anybody go to that meeting? Was anybody there? Thank you for coming. I made a little statement at that meeting, and I'm going to reiterate it today because I think it's very important. You know, this country was founded because a very small group decided that they were going to fight back against tyranny. Now, if you look around here, see this? By the way, we outnumber them at least 10-1 right now. Okay? If the people decide you will no longer control the people's house, guess what? You will no longer control the people's house. Shortly after the revolution, before the country was even formed, before we even instituted the Constitution, there's a famous interview that was done with our first commander-in-chief, a general named George Washington. You may have heard of him. George Washington was asked a question. They said to him, "General, how did you do it? How did you defeat the greatest military on the face of the earth at the time with a group of rebels they had no resources, they were sick, they were tired? How did you defeat the Brits?" I read this probably about a little over 20 years ago. It's every day. It stays with me. It's burned into my head, burned right here every day. George Washington said, "What separates the American from anyone else on earth is that he is willing to die on his feet before he will live on his knees." And I want to make it very clear to everybody in this house, everybody in those chambers, we, the people, will not kneel. We're not going to kneel to Joe Shikachi. We're not going to kneel to Donnie Ruggiero. We're not going to kneel to Dan McKee. We're not going to kneel to Donald Trump. If we're kneeling to anyone, it's Almighty God. So I'm going to I want to leave it with this. When you look around this room today and you see the sea of yellow, there's a pretty historic flag. It's a yellow flag. Some of you have it on your shirt. I'm sure some of it's flying somewhere. And on that flag is embossed a rattlesnake with a very simple statement: "Don't tread on me." I want to encourage all of our elected officials. I want them to go back and study the meaning of that flag. Because today, as we stand before them in our house, let them know, see this? This is the rattle. This is the rattle. This is your warning. I suggest they heed the warning. Thank you.
I warned you guys. Frank's Kosho, where are you at? All right. We're gonna have Andre speak, and then I'm gonna throw up Frank. So Andre, it's all you, son.
All right, I guess I'm speaking.
You thought he was my sidekick today.
All right, how is everyone doing today? Good? Nice. Well, as you can tell, I wasn't prepared, but I guess I'll shoot from the hip. I'm just kidding, I'm not shooting. Relax. It's a figure of speech down there. Listen, about 8 years ago, I got involved in the industry, and I always love talking about this. Can't hear me, right? Sorry. I got you. Hopefully there's no flu on this thing. So about 8 years ago, I got involved in the industry, and you know, kind of an outsider, I'd say. But the thing that always amazed me was the people. The Second Amendment community is by far one of the most loving, one of the most caring community in this country. Time and time again, you guys have come together for raffles, for fundraisers. When we personally had, you know, a fire at our building, everyone rallied together and made sure that the business was able to come back. There is, you know, as fierce and you know, as fierce as we can be, we can equally be as loving. And I just wanted to point that out today. I understand emotions are high. We're all here, you know, fighting for our rights and trying to make our voices heard. But at the same time, I want people to understand as well that the community is a very, very loving community. We love our country a lot. So, that being said, thank you for being here, and I guess I'll turn it back.
So right now we have Frank Scotia for you. He's our president of Rhode Island Second Amendment Coalition. He works hard. He's an attorney for us. He's endless hours in the office by himself. I always have to apologize to him because I'm not a lawyer, Frank, but I'll get you coffee because he's 24/7. So give a big round of applause for Frank Scotia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for showing up at the State House today. It's very impressive to see a sea of yellow on all of the floors, outside of the building, and all the way down around the street waiting to come in. This is the movement that the anti-gun people need to see and need to appreciate. You are not a nameless bunch of people. This is the Second Amendment community, and we're not going to stand down on any of these issues today. Even though we're at the State House today, this fight needs to continue after today. You need to make sure that you have disaffiliated. You need to make sure that you are contacting your senators and reps and telling them you're not going to put up with this. I can't tell you how many people I talk to in the firearms community, and I say, if you talk to your senator, have you talked to your representative? And they say, I'm not sure who they are. Very easy to find out. You can go onto the internet, find out who your senator and rep is, call them up and tell them not to support any of the gun legislation, to make sure to protect your Second Amendment rights. A politician's number one job is to get reelected. And if they don't have your support, they will be out. Next time you go to the ballot box, remember, the person that you're going to be voting for needs to be somebody that protects your Second Amendment rights. If not,
you're not voting for them. It's that simple. Just want to make sure the people in here that have come out today to support us, to support everything we're doing, want to make sure that you're aware of this. A lot of the anti-gun people that are here representing us as senators and representatives, a lot of them did not have a candidate in the last election. That's what you have to realize. Everyone in this room has the ability to run for office or support somebody who's running for office who's pro-gun. A lot of the problems we have is we don't get good people out to run for office. We've had people, anti-gun people, on their second and third term unopposed. That is completely unacceptable to securing your Second Amendment rights. Make sure you get involved, even after today. Try to get involved, call up an organization, go to your local gun club, start talking to your friends and family and say, how do we make a difference? How do we get involved, and how do we make sure that this doesn't continue to happen? Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. It's great to see so many people up the State House. Let's continue to fight and tell these people we're not going to let go of our Second Amendment rights.
So I just want to add a few things today. Listen, we can't go home and take a nap. There's no time for sleeping. We all must wake up. We must do what we have to do. I want you to go back to your gun clubs. I'm going to start making the rounds again with a hard drive that gives them all of the voter rolls in Rhode Island. And I want every member of their gun club for them to look to see if that member is a registered voter or if he registered to vote. We have to change. We have to change the way we do. We cannot keep our eyes closed. People will complain, they'll call us and they'll say this and that. You look them up on the voter roll, they're not listed, they're not even registered to vote. That has to change. I'd like to say one word for a guy that's worked pretty hard. When I mentioned about the gun charges being dropped by the Attorney General, that is not a lie. Dan Kessler, are you here today, brother? Dan Kessler has a handful of guys that went over the gun reporting from the Attorney General. He has to turn it over to the Senate and the House every year. And Dan Kessler goes through it with his guys, and he comes up with anywhere from 75 to 80% of multiple gun charges dropped. And that's why the criminals are back on the street and we're having murders in our state of Rhode Island. So I want you to make a big, if you see Dan, thank you Dan Kessler, I appreciate you, from Parabellum. I appreciate all you guys coming out today. It's a great showing. We have to continue to fight. Thank you and God bless.
We're gonna go storm room 101.